So we're now going on to our second interview, all about our conference. For those of you that weren't able to join us earlier, we interviewed Simon Preston today from Embrace Neurodiversity. Now we're going to interview Karen Power, and Karen Power owns Creative Mindfulness, and she's really up on trauma-informed mindfulness and all things, all things health and well-being regarding children and young people and adults too. So you're very, very welcome along, Karen. It's really lovely to have you here.
Thanks, Jeanette.
It's really great to have you and to be able to have this conversation with you. I know we're very much looking forward to having you at the conference. Let's get started. What would be really
Yeah.
nice is just to tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're doing the job that you do.
Okay, so I think yeah, I'm a mindfulness teacher, a yoga teacher, parent of two. I have two kids and two dogs. Yeah, I just think that I got into this from, when my kids were small, and I just saw some anxiety and different issues with my own kids and kids that I minded, and thought there has to be an easier way to kind of get around this and give kids kind of some tools. And I kind of started looking into it and then found that I really needed it more than the kids sometimes. So it was of a huge benefit to me. So yeah, I live in the countryside. I love being out in the nature, the local parks, um, by the sea, if I can get by the sea. And I think that played a huge part in my mindfulness as well, that finding a place or a time that I could kind of just cut off from everything else. And um, now there's a lot of different things for kids that aren't so, games on TV and a lot of gaming goes on, and it kind of numbs the kid's mind where, being in nature gives you that time to kind of chill out and take in a lot of more things through your senses. And yeah, the older I'm getting, the more I kind of feel that I'm drawn into being in nature. So yeah, I suppose working with children then for years, I just thought this has got to be amazing for children to have some of these tools. Makes little kind of milestones that you reach or difficulties that you reach a little bit easier or a little bit more awareness around them. And when you have those kind of tools, then you understand yourself better, you can communicate your needs a bit better, and then you don't feel like you're the only one or there's something wrong with me, which is obviously a whole train of, oh God, there's something wrong with me, and then you kind of get into that slump and you think there's something else wrong with me, and soon the kid loses that confidence and that resilience. So yeah, you want to stop that chain and bring it into a more positive spin. So that's where my kind of wanting to empower kids to be their own self-regulators.
Yeah, amazing. And you've taken an awful lot of courses and qualifications
Yeah.
around this area, haven't you?
Yeah, so I've done a lot. I'm in the midst of the polyvagal theory studies. I've the trauma sensitive mindfulness was a real shift for me. Trauma becomes that buzzword now, and everybody has trauma to some extent, and it's a bit like autism. Like there's a whole range of different traumas that people can experience, and what what categorizes a trauma, and is the people's resilience to deal with it, or people's needs not being met in a situation that can cause the trauma. And doing trauma sensitive mindfulness just shifted my perspective completely, because we don't know, and oftentimes people don't know that they've been through a trauma. So it made me a lot more aware of how I would approach different things. Um, so even it like in my yoga classes for children and adults, it's a matter of simply even giving a choice, where somebody wants to sit, where somebody wants to be. Um, like I'm currently doing some work as an SNA, and I work sometimes individually with kids, and I always tell them that, if I knock at the door and see if they want to come out, it's a choice. If they don't want to come out and talk to me that day, I'm not going to be upset with them. I'll call the next day and the next day and see if they want to. And if they just say, no, I don't want to see you at all, that choice is there. Because if I get a child to come out, or if I'm working with a kid who's doing yoga and doesn't want to, they're not gaining anything, they're not learning anything. They've already shut down some of their senses and their willingness to take part in it. So yeah, I think that trauma sensitive really shifted my perspective. And that love then of learning all about, the window of tolerance, learning about the neuroscience, learning about our neural system and how, the non-spoken word is, so much more important sometimes than the spoken word. Like we all know if we go into, if you've gone into the room and the kids are there and they've just been messing and there's been something going on or they're hiding something, you get that atmosphere, that feeling, that energy as soon as you walk in. So it's the same for educators. Like when a child walks into a classroom, the teacher sets that vibe. The teacher's neurosystem is that kind of, that tone for the children to be able to connect with them and to learn, So I think that's really important for the educators to know.
I think it's actually a really interesting area, the way our own reactions and demeanor and everything else, our neurosystem is really
Yeah.
impacting on other people. And a lot of us are not really aware of that. So I think it's a really good
Yeah.
kind of aspect to be looking at.
And I think if you have teenagers, I've got two at the moment, and you've been through it as well with teenagers, their neurosystem is really interesting to be around
Yeah.
because they're going through that whole changes and hormones and, their brain changes and everything. And their neurosystem can be, I'm an adult, I'm a child, I know it, I don't know it. It's so fiery to be
Yeah.
around that it can be difficult to live with teenagers. And obviously their neurosystem settles down and things settle down again, but those teen years.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
How are we going to put that? They're very, very interesting. And yeah, we've definitely been through a few of those. So tell me, Karen, when I asked you to come along and do a workshop for us at the conference,
Yeah.
why did you decide that you were going to say yes? Why yes? Why not no?
I think personally, I wanted to, school just wasn't a thing that I ever felt comfortable in. And this being not just for educators, like parents are educators, grandparents are educators. It's not just, teachers and SNAs and all of that. It was to get other people to understand from the student side that school's not easy for everybody. I certainly struggled all the way through school. I was only saying it to one of the teachers today that I can remember physically getting sick the night before school because of that dread. Um, and that whole system of not being clever enough brings you down into a hole, and not having an educator or somebody there to see there's other potential than just the academic puts you into a box of feeling like you're never enough and that you won't achieve anything because you don't meet the standards of an educational system.
Mhm.
And so when you asked me to do this, I was thinking, well, there is, why does there have to be a box? Why can't we see now, be a big conversation around the educational system, but why can't we see that there's other strengths and other ways around things? And I was watching this thing on it was Instagram Reels about this guy who interviews millionaires, and so many of them never went to college. And they were saying like, well, what's somebody in college going to teach me about running a business? I want to learn from somebody who's running a business,
Yeah.
As so I think that we have to be able to say, well, a kid really likes this. And so maybe the teacher can't do that with, full class, but there's the support workers that can give that child that few minutes of saying, okay, so you like to do this or you like to do that, then let's spend a little bit of time doing what you like so you can leave school knowing, oh God, I still have something else to offer. Or there's something at home that the parents can see that the child's really good at, and to support the parents about how they can bring that out in their child more. So, like I said, it's for all the adults around. And the most important thing for me, I suppose, was to be able to share with people about the parents' neurosystem, the adults' neurosystem, the teacher's neurosystem, the school's neurosystem, um, is so important in setting that child's, a place to learn, a safe place to learn. Because I certainly didn't feel safe in primary school. And then it snowballs effects on from there. And you just need one person to say, I see something else in you, I see something in you, and that gives that person hope. So I think I just wanted to be able to share with educators that that child mightn't fit into the box that you think they should or everybody other child is, but that doesn't mean that there isn't any hope for that child.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that personal experience, something that you've been through yourself, that you can
Yeah.
then give back to others so that they're
Yeah.
not going through the same thing is hugely valuable. And it's very powerful, I think, in this kind of an environment. It's very powerful to be able to bring that personal experience into it. Um,
Yeah.
One of the things that you say in there is that, fitting these kids into boxes, and we're putting the square peg in the round hole. And, this is a term that's thrown around quite loosely, but essentially that's what we're trying to do in the education system, is we're trying to make all of the children fit into the same kind of situation.
Yeah.
We're boxing them off, and the kids that we work with, they're neurodivergent. And for those people who are listening that aren't really sure what neurodivergent means, it's everything under the neurodivergent umbrella is the neurological condition. So when we're looking at neurological conditions, we're looking at autism and ADHD and dyslexia, but we're also looking at kids who have trauma, adverse childhood experiences. We're looking at mental health difficulties, depression, anxiety. All of those things come under a neurodivergent umbrella. So, and then some, there's a huge list.
Yeah.
But it's really important that you're able to bring that and let people know, that sometimes life is shocking and it
And
can be.
sometimes, yeah, sorry, Jeanette, sometimes that support for the neurodiversity allows the children to learn and, get closer to that box that the educational system has. But if we don't have the tools to kind of support that area of their development, then they're missing out. And again, like I said, the educational system has a way to go. And I see schools and teachers doing, so much more than they were trained to do. And the mental health services are, breaking at the seams. So being able to support children to support themselves while they're waiting for other things, I think is critical to be able to give them that power for themselves. So yeah, I think that's really important for the conference is that we're going to be, supporting you in whatever role you are in that child's life, so they can be in a better place to learn at their level, at their skill, their interest. It's really important.
Yeah, it's massive. So give us a little sneaky preview
Yeah.
of what you'll be doing for us on the day.
So some practical skills. I didn't mention that I'm dyslexic, so I learn differently as well, and I think that's one of the things. Even as an adult now, I still have to come to terms with. I still try to fit myself into that. I have to have, A, B, and C. Um, but I know that I learn from doing. And so I will be getting some people to experience to do some of those little kind of maneuvers around mindfulness techniques to move and connect with your body. So when you move and connect with your body, you're able to regulate yourself, or you're able to, like I said, speak your needs, speak your awareness of, I actually feel this, or I think I might need this. And so, it's giving educators or parents, whoever's there at the conference, some of those little tools that I've learned along the way to help themselves. And so when they learn the technique and they start to feel rather than think about it, then they can use that with children. Um, so again, like I said, that nervous system, us being the regulators in the conference, I'll be talking about your nervous system, your window of tolerance, and your brain, and how mindfulness is weaved through that and supports you to connect with each of those and know, okay, well, here's the language I need for being able to say, well, I've got butterflies in my stomach. I have fizzies in my leg. I have, running thoughts. There's a thought stuck in my head. It's like bubblegum. It keeps getting bigger. I don't know what to do. So giving them some kind of language around how children need to hear this or be able to express themselves. And that awareness again starts with the adult. The child's brain hasn't fully developed. So the adult knowing this can see this in another child and has some tools to say, maybe that will work for a child. If it doesn't work today, maybe that will work tomorrow, and to keep trying different ways. So yeah, the overall view is mindfulness and how it's weaved through all those different areas and some practical tools to take away to regulate yourself and then regulate the children in your care.
It's amazing, and that's actually really important that you say that, to regulate yourself as well as be able to regulate the kids in your care, because something that I've learned through the years, and when I did mindfulness myself, it's something that I 100% needed and didn't realize that I needed.
Yeah.
And mindfulness is one of those words, you sometimes you say it and people go, oh my God, that's all hippie, we don't want to do that kind of thing. But realistically, everybody needs it. Everybody needs to be mindful and to be able to focus on specific breathing techniques and things like that.
Yeah.
And the way that we regulate ourselves can really help the children then in regulating themselves.
Yeah.
How
And
to deal with distress.
I
If you
do think
respect
like
yourself.
even yeah, and when you go into a classroom or you say anything about mindfulness, I get this from kids, oh, and it's to kind of stop thinking with this brain and start thinking with the body brain of, oh, I'm sensing this, so this is what I sense when I start getting angry, and so how do I stop it now? Or I'm really angry, and to accept, okay, so we're really angry, what can we do? And obviously they're not going to be reasonable at that stage, they're already in that kind of thing. So less language and more movement, and then not to shame that person about having a natural feeling, so it's that kind of full circle even, to be able to work with, and the mindfulness of acceptance, letting go of the situation that happened. It's not just sitting and, hoping to clear your mind, because my mind never clears when I'm meditating.
Mine's the same. No, definitely not.
Yeah,
No, it's always on the go.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I
and I
think
think
that's it really, to change people's perspective of, it's not just this.
yeah, a bit of zen. Yeah, no, it's not just that, not at all. I would talk to people about mindful eating and mindful walking, because I
Yeah.
find
Oh yeah.
those very beneficial for me rather than sitting with my
Yeah,
thoughts. Um,
absolutely.
I do find something like that quite beneficial. So I
Yeah.
think something as well that really what we're trying to do in the education system, because we can't change the education system itself, but we can provide the supports within it,
Yeah.
is kind of changing that narrative, isn't it? It's changing the narrative about how we deal with the children's emotions and our own emotions. It's not, I don't know about you, when I was growing up, it was stop crying, I'll give you something to cry for,
Mm.
and really
It's
not helpful.
yeah, and you hope that that's really come a long way. But I was working with when I've been working with kids before, and in the education system, it's you're crowd controlling so many kids. But I was teaching a yoga class, and with I think we were like 7, 8 year old kids, and we were talking about stuff, and it got sad. And anybody who knows me knows I cry very easy, but there was tears, and the kids were like, oh. And I think it's important for adults to be able to show feelings and expressions. And it was really good because the children became empathetic and like, oh, and do you need this? And do you want a hug? And they can't show those things if we don't give them a chance to understand, well, adults are vulnerable too, adults cry, adults get angry. And so they learn the skills on how to be around people like that. And then, like I said, their nervous system is caring and compassion. Or is, somebody's angry, then, that they experience what that feels like when they're around somebody who's angry, and how they can, not take that personally, and how they can bounce back from that and talk about it.
Yeah, and I think building resilience is such a huge thing. It's so important that we're able to do that. We're in a very unique position in our professions to be able to build that resilience in kids, and create what's the best way I want to say it? Create the children of the future that's
Yeah.
going to be able to cope with life's challenges,
Yeah.
and whatever is thrown at them.
And I think, I'd hope I see a lot of parents getting in front of their kids, not wanting them to be upset or angry or disappointed. And if they don't learn how to do that as children, then you end up with very dysregulated adults who don't know how to experience all those emotions and to be okay with them. So I think it's important that, disappointment, failure, all of that is part of life's journey. And the parent's job is to let the child experience that and be the regulator around that, as opposed to getting in front of the child and making it okay.
Absolutely. Okay, so
Yeah.
you're coming to the conference, you're doing a whole workshop, you're doing it for everybody.
Yeah.
And how long are you going to be available for people? Because your experiences, both, I mean, you come in actually with a vast amount of experience, and not just from a professional perspective, but also as a special needs assistant, somebody who works in the school system.
Yeah.
You're also trauma informed,
Yeah.
which is a huge thing. You've gone through trauma yourself. You're also dyslexic, so you're coming from a neurodivergent perspective as well. And a parent, you're a parent of two absolutely gorgeous children. I haven't missed any, have I? I'm fairly sure it was only two.
No, and like that, I've been, won't say how many years, but I've been working with children for a very long time.
Yeah.
So, in so many different capacities, I have
So
worked with
people are
children.
going to be queuing up wanting to talk to you and ask you lots of questions. So how long are you going to be available to people for?
Yeah, I'm going to be there for the day, so pop over and have a chat. And like I said, probably everybody who's there in before me, people want to talk to them after maybe and have questions afterwards. So I'll definitely be there, right up until the end. But people want to ask questions or want to be informed about anything, or I can support them with. So yeah, absolutely, I'll be around to, and the more people that I can talk to and share stuff with, the better. So yeah, look forward to being there.
Amazing. It's going to be a great day. We're really looking forward. I'm looking forward to doing the workshop. So I'm definitely going to do the workshop.
Yeah, I'm gonna make everyone do yoga. No.
Get up on stage if you want me to, and I'll do it with everybody else.
Yeah,
Great.
and I think that's it. I think it's to like, and I think, thank you for creating the space, because I think it's coming together as a community to understand and support that so many people are trying to make a change in their work as like I said, a parent, a grandparent, teacher, whatever. And it's to be able to see that we're all trying to do the same thing. And there's the power in that, and then there's a shift that can happen because of it. So, having this conference to highlight this is amazing. So thank you so much for all the work you've been doing behind and in front of the scenes, getting it all off the ground.
It's
So
definitely been a stressful experience, but hopefully
yeah,
we'll have, like I said, people come along, and the more people come along, the more they're going to get out of it,
exactly.
and
And
the
the
more
first year is
people we can
always
help.
the hardest with anything, Jeanette. So, it'll be easier every year after this. It'll be easier.
Absolutely. That's it. Okay, so finally, how can people get in touch with you? So if somebody wants to book you for a speaker event, for workshops, for training within schools, how can people get in touch with you, Karen?
Yeah, so the email is karenpower@gmail.com. The Facebook page is Mindfulness for Children 2018. I think that's it. I'm on Instagram, but I can't remember my Instagram handle. But either way, and like I said, I will be at the conference. Excuse me. And this will be up on my Facebook page as well, and people can DM me and stuff as well if they want. And like I said, I've worked with quite a few schools in the Kilkenny area. So yeah, that you can check out those schools and ask, but like either yoga workshops, Patrick hours, just explaining mindfulness and different things like that to the staff is something that I'm passionate about.
Yeah, no, and it's going to be amazing. I actually can't wait now
Yeah.
to be honest. We're getting all excited about it.
Yeah.
So for anybody that's wanting to book tickets and wants to come along and take part in Karen's workshop, you need to go on to www.conference.tskacademy.com. You can contact me on Jeanette@tskacademy.com. You can see the little this side, the little thing above my head. And you can call me here on 0567819111, and we are happy to take group bookings. So any questions, please give us a shout. It's absolutely lovely to talk to you today, Karen.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very, very much, and we will see you soon.
Thank you.